Hi everyone, welcome to The Breakdown, where we explore challenging topics of the day with allegiance only to reason, evidence, critical analysis, and the willingness to consider new ideas with an open mind. I'm James Sayer, your host. Tonight, our topic, intelligent extraterrestrial life and alien visitors. Or, have we got aliens? Lots of good stuff about extraterrestrials in the news lately, so let's just strap on the tinfoil hat and get into it, shall we? So first off, on June 15th, 2020, the Astrophysical Journal published findings from astrophysicists Dr. Tom Westby and Dr. Christopher Consolis from the University of Nottingham, who claim that there may be at least 36 intelligent, communicating civilizations currently living in the Milky Way galaxy. So how did they come up with that number? Why 36? So okay, in 1961, astronomer Frank Drake developed a formula for how to calculate the number of intelligent extraterrestrial civilizations that might exist in the Milky Way, known as the Drake equation. Now, his formula calculates the factors that decide whether or not humans are likely to find or be found by intelligent extraterrestrials. Now, this is the formula that Westby and Consolis used to calculate the number of communicating intelligent extraterrestrial civilizations there are in the Milky Way. Now, the formula accounts for such factors like the average rate of star formation per year in the galaxy, the percentage of those stars with planets, the percentage of those planets that form an ecosystem that's habitable for life potentially, and the even smaller percentage that develop life. Then the number of life-bearing planets that give rise to intelligent life, plus the percentage of intelligent alien life that develops communication that could be detected from space. Now, we belong in this category, as we've been communicating with radio waves for about 100 years. So this final variable is the average amount of time that a communicating alien civilization lasts. And the scientists set it as 100 years, which is about the same as ours, for the purposes of this study. So the result is basically, if life on other planets follows the same trajectory as on Earth, there are 36 intelligent communicating extraterrestrial civilizations sharing the Milky Way with humans today. Now, there's uncertainty in this estimate, of course, with a range from 4 other civilizations all the way up to 211. So 36 is a pretty conservative estimate. But ultimately, lots of estimates based on numerous theoretical assumptions about our galaxy. Star formation, if life does evolve elsewhere in the galaxy, and if so, how often, in what ways, how long do advanced communicating civilizations survive? Lots of unknowns here. But it does give us a way to think about extraterrestrial life in our galaxy with this as a starting point. Now, once we learn more details about the cosmos, we can make the assumptions and estimates more accurate. So what does all this mean? Well, essentially, if these many assumptions made by the researchers are true, and that's a really big if, then we can expect at least 36 of these communicating intelligent civilizations to be in existence currently within the Milky Way galaxy right now that could potentially even be trying to communicate with us. But there's no way for it to actually happen because of the vast number of light years between us. According to the researchers, if spread uniformly throughout the Milky Way, this would imply that the nearest communicating intelligent extraterrestrial civilization is about 17,000 light years away. Not much chance of us meeting those folks. Now, we could all be living our lives in different parts of the galaxy, wondering about each other, trying to reach out and actually connect, but simply just unable to do it because of such a vast distance between us. So maybe they're out there. And maybe if they developed under some similar circumstances or conditions to us, and under similar evolutionary constraints, maybe we would be surprisingly similar to them. But it's also possible that life evolves under very, very different conditions than those similar to ours. And as we do know that life can thrive in some rather inhospitable environments like space, extreme heat, extreme cold, and no oxygen. So perhaps multitudes more of these intelligent communicating civilizations exist in much greater diversity than the researchers estimated. Or consider that intelligent life, or life itself for that matter, may rarely, if ever, evolve. and ours is just a cosmic freak accident in the universe. Who knows? Our only evidence of life in the universe comes from Earth, and we have not been able to fully investigate our own solar system for life yet. Many scientists have thought for years that there may be ocean life underneath the frozen surfaces of the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Mars has only been partially explored and is still a possibility. And there are even some scientists that have speculated life may exist within the fiery furnaces of Venus. So we have a lot more investigating to do locally, just within our own solar system. Quite simply, we just don't have enough information, yet at least, to really know whether there is any life out there, intelligent or otherwise. But it sure is fascinating to think about. So, think about this. Even if these communicating extraterrestrial intelligent civilizations do exist in the Milky Way, in the dozens or the hundreds or even the thousands, it would take thousands upon thousands of years for their messages to reach us, assuming they tried to radio us, and even longer for them to travel to us. Now, assuming the researchers' estimate is right, it would take our nearest communicating intelligent neighbor 17,000 years, traveling at the speed of light to get to us. Even if they were way closer, like 1,000 light years away, that's still 1,000 years the aliens would have to travel at light speed the whole time just to reach us. And remember, we're just talking the Milky Way galaxy here. The known universe has at least 100 to 200 billion galaxies. That's exponentially greater chances for life out there, but even much vaster distances to cross to reach us. Millions, even billions of light years away. Totally out of reach to us, as if the other never even existed, as it appears nature has so deemed it to be, not unlike all the people on earth in life whom you will never meet, just on a universal scale. But here's a question. If an intelligent alien civilization, perhaps just a little bit more advanced than ours, but had harnessed some, as yet undiscovered elements of physics beyond our understanding and were able to detect us, perhaps even reach us, would they? Would they even want to contact us? Now, we've been assuming others would wish to reach us, but if they observed us, would they decide to contact us? Or would they take a pass, having determined we were more trouble than we're worth, too selfish, too violent, too out of control, not yet ready to join the interstellar community? Would they just steer clear of us? Would they maybe keep watch over us at a distance, not making contact? Or perhaps waiting for when we do become ready? Or waiting possibly to intervene should we cross some dangerous threshold? Or maybe to seize an opportunity for their own purposes? Now, we think we would want to meet them, but would we? If they're benevolent, sure, why not? But there's no guarantee they would be. They could be just as self-interested, brutal, and reckless as us, maybe worse, and with their highly advanced technology, we'd likely be at their mercy. Would they befriend us? Would they enslave us? Would they exterminate us? Would they just ignore us and go on about their business, whatever that might be? And how far ahead of us would they be? Not just technologically, but mentally, socially, morally? A few hundred years? A few thousand? Or tens? Or hundreds of thousands? Millions? It could be even a wide range of different races at different, stages of development, maybe all isolated from each other from the vastness of space, but perhaps not. Perhaps the distances were already conquered, maybe eons ago, and they interact as some interstellar or intergalactic community to which we're just totally unaware, kind of like Star Trek. Would they be ahead in some ways of us, but perhaps not others? Lots of awesome questions and absolutely zero answers. But if new information becomes available, who knows? But so far, the only proof of life in the universe is right here on Earth and nowhere else. Only time and our exploration will tell us if this continues to be true. But this brings us to our next related topic. The UFOs, or what they're now calling UAPs, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon, or UAVs. They used to call them UAVs for like unidentified aerial vehicles. And they've had numerous recorded interactions with U.S. Navy pilots over past years on both the East Coast and the West Coast between 2004 and 2015. Now, the Pentagon officially released this footage in April of this year, but some of the footage had already been released back in 2017. It had been leaked. Some of the pilots now that were involved have also spoken out publicly about the incidents. And so what do we know? What do we know objectively? What do we know from the pilot testimony that was given and the camera footage? Well, we know that there's a lot of them. A lot of these UAPs. In one encounter, one pilot said he saw a fleet of them. And these UAPs can accelerate to apparently hypersonic speeds at will, making them vanish almost instantly, and can maneuver in ways beyond our current understanding of the laws of physics and aerodynamics. And it seemed to do so with little concern for the presence of our fighter jets. They are flying casually around U.S. military bases without any concern for detection. They are not worried about us. So, what could they be? Well, here are the possibilities, and there's three of them. A military/government hoax carried out by a very small group of people within the U.S. government to cloak a new U.S. military technology as a UAP instead of, our technology. A sort of disinformation campaign, essentially. Number two, an adversary's, perhaps Russia or China's, new military or spy technology, a new breakthrough they've made that's being used to spy on us. And then, of course, the third option is alien visitors who appear to have an interest in our military installations. So really, those are the three most serious options. These are the most likely possibilities. Now, they're not weather balloons. They're not flocks of birds or atmospheric anomalies. It's just, it's not out of the realm of possibility that a government like ours might create a hoax disinformation campaign of some type to conceal a new technology, or possibly to establish a dangerous but manufactured threat that would, require more military funding. It is also possible that Russia, China, or another human adversary has jumped way ahead of us with some new technology, which we just have yet to discover. So advanced, perhaps, that it seems alien to us from another world. That this technology is so superior to ours and allows them to access our military airspace with little fear should be an extremely serious concern to our military and intelligence organizations, which it certainly appears to be. Now, the other possibility, the third one, is that it's alien visitors examining our military bases. Now, while we already discussed the fact that aliens from other worlds could not likely ever reach us because of the vast distances of space, if they were coming from the nearest potentially habitable exoplanet, which is orbiting Proxima Centauri b, about 4.2 light years away, it would take them 4.2 years traveling at the speed of light the whole time to get to us. Now, for your information, if we wanted to go to Proxima Centauri with our current rocket technology, it would take us about 6,300 years to get there. And that's according to MIT Technology Review. That's based on our current rocket technology. We have a rocket that can go about 435,000 miles per hour, or space probe, we'll say. Yeah, which is pretty awesome, but still slow by cosmic standards. Anyway, there's zero scientific evidence whatsoever that speed of light travel is possible at all. And according to the laws of physics, it is impossible. According to actually Einstein's theory of special relativity, which states no object can be propelled to light speed because to do so would require an infinite amount of energy, which is, a literal impossibility. But somehow, maybe the aliens have discovered some new laws of physics that we're just not even yet aware. Maybe they've discovered the infinite amount of energy needed to accelerate an object to the speed of light from some as of yet undiscovered subatomic particle or some new element that they can use to reach such speeds. That's a wild stretch, but maybe they found a way to convert their mass to light, travel at light speed, and then reconvert and reconfigure their mass perfectly once they have arrived at their destination. That would be pretty cool. Perhaps they can somehow manipulate the space-time continuum in a way that allows them to avoid light speed travel, and they can just simply go from this dimension to another through some type of portal or wormhole, which allows them to reappear back into our dimension, but on the other side of the galaxy. Now, that would be really convenient. Or maybe they can't travel at light speed or do wormholes, but they travel at a certain fraction of light speed, thanks to some unknown technology that allows them to make journeys to other stars in years versus untold millennia for us to make the same journey. Or maybe they can't travel through space that fast at all, and they just have to slog it out, traveling for hundreds or thousands or even tens of thousands of years in space to get to their destination. Generations of space travelers living and dying aboard a ship before ever reaching their destination. Or maybe they just hibernate through the entire journey. Who knows? We're in the realm here of ideas where knowledge and evidence are very scarce and speculation is rampant. Now, for the next part of our story, the Pentagon has come out in the last few weeks stating that a group called the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force under the Office of Naval Intelligence is currently responsible for investigating UAPs. Now, apparently taking up the UFO hunting mantle for the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, which formed in 2007 and technically disbanded in 2012. But apparently their work actually continued and is largely the same operation, at least reportedly, simply working under the new name under the Office of Naval Intelligence. Now, this is according to both the New York Times, the NBC News, but also Fox, Popular Mechanics, and a bunch of other news outlets have reported the same information. Now, according to a Senate Intelligence Subcommittee report for the Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 2021, which is authored by Senator Marco Rubio, who has expressed a strong desire for information on UAPs. Funding for this program is tied to the program reporting their findings to the public within 6 months of enactment of the bill into law. So perhaps once this gets signed into law 6 months later, we might learn some interesting things from the UAP task force in the coming months. Or maybe it'll just be some more mundane explanations for these unexplained phenomena. We just have to wait and see. The fact that the Pentagon has continued to have agencies investigating UFOs, UAPs, or UAVs, whatever you want to call them, it is not that surprising, really. They should be concerned about what's going on in our airspace, especially around our military bases. No one would expect them to turn a blind eye to enemy drones or aircraft violating our airspace. So, what is also interesting here are some comments that were made by those who have been involved with either the UAP task force or its previous version, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Now, Eric W. Davis is an astrophysicist with Aerospace Corporation, a defense contractor, and he worked on the program since 2007, and he has repeatedly briefed the government in recent months on UAP-related matters, including retrieval of off-world craft not made on this Earth, who has said we could not have made these craft ourselves. Luis Elizondo, a former military intelligence officer, claims he was the program manager. He was in the program for 10 years and actually ran the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, though this has not been independently verified. We do know that Elizondo was in the Pentagon. He did work for the Pentagon, and he worked for Defense Intelligence, and he was in military intelligence for a long time, a long career. But we just don't know. We have not been able to verify, or anyone from that matter, if he actually ran that program. That information is just not publicly available. Maybe true, but nobody's giving it out. So that's that. Anyway, Elizondo resigned from his post because, according to him, of how the Pentagon was not addressing UAP instances seriously enough. And he actually now has a show called Unidentified on the History Channel. Now, he stated these occurrences are not limited to the U.S. and actually happen all over the world. And Elizondo has also said he's convinced that these objects are of undetermined origin, which have crashed on Earth, and that materials have been retrieved by us for study. Now, these are well-established professionals with high-level security clearances, not some dudes in a trailer somewhere in the desert drinking beers and talking about UFOs and conspiracy theories. Now, their comments should be given a lot more weight than just an amateur star watcher or a UFO enthusiast. Elizondo has said that he is actually pleased about the new Senate rules and said they will lead to more transparency with the program's UAP findings. Well, we shall see. But it seems from all this evidence that we have discussed so far in this episode that, we're establishing a rational way to view all this. The Astrophysical Journal study establishes, if nothing else, the possibility that intelligent communicating extraterrestrial life exists within the Milky Way. The U.S. Navy video footage and pilot testimony make crystal clear, there are UFOs visiting our military bases. There's no question about it. And they're essentially coming and going as they please. The existence of a UFO hunting program and acknowledging of it also indicates that the UFOs are a serious concern to the military, as they should be. Now, this is good. Our government is not ignoring them. And the comments made by those close to the military UFO hunting programs indicate that there are at least some within the community who have had full access to the materials and information regarding UAPs under their investigation. And those comments are quite striking. And basically, they're saying this: we don't have the technology for these UAP capabilities, and they may very well be the result of extraterrestrial technology. Now, the government is releasing new info, right? They released the footage in April 2020 of these UFO videos, and they plan to report their findings to us, or at least some of them. Now, they're not going to tell us everything. They're acknowledging that they reopened UFO investigations since at least 2007, and that they continue to do so. This is what we know. So, maybe there are alien visitors here with some agenda who just do not wish to come right out and announce themselves, though perhaps that could be changing. Perhaps they have been over time gradually trying to get us used to the idea of aliens, so that when we do finally meet, we don't freak out and try and kill them, forcing them to defend themselves against us. Our military weapons would be a natural concern for them, that they would need to investigate no matter how advanced they might be. Even though their technology would give them an overwhelming advantage against us, if they're really so advanced, they should be, more than smart enough not to underestimate a potential adversary, to realize they should know our full destructive capabilities for their own sake, if nothing else. Now, there are a lot of big questions, besides, where are they from, and what all do they know, and why are they here? As far as why are they here, are their purposes benevolent or nefarious, or maybe some combination? And how long have they been here? Did they just get here? Did they show up once we started blowing up atomic weapons? Have they been around for a long time? Did they interact with us throughout the distant past? There is considerable, though highly speculative and inconclusive evidence that suggests aliens may have visited us for millennia, perhaps even longer. But ultimately, it's all, fascinating but wild speculation. When you're hunting for aliens to prove they exist, you got to have the aliens, folks. It's just the way it is. There's no way around it. So, without clear proof of extraterrestrial life, it seems we must default to another explanation for these UAPs, which would be that it is either from one of our earthly adversaries, like China or Russia, or that they're ours. And we're labeling them UAPs to deny their existence of our new technology. Now, while we have some experts saying these visitors and ships are not of this world, Davis and Elizondo could be hucksters trying to make a buck off sensational UFO stories. It is possible, though, that their well-established credentials and background do suggest otherwise. They could theoretically be a part of a government disinformation campaign to help deny the existence of our new capabilities. That's true. But perhaps our new craft have been sighted and tracked by our enemies, and this is our attempt to shift the focus away from us to another source, extraterrestrials. Now, typically, the more effective strategy would probably be to say nothing and just deny the existence of the UAPs, or just offer some type of mundane explanation for the events. But the leaking of the pilot videos, long before the official release, probably forced their hand. So they had to acknowledge the UAPs. Now, whether they're ours, China's, or Russia's is really, it's a question for the aerospace experts and other scientists. Maybe this technology seems like it's from another world because it's so new and transformative and has been kept top secret because of its extremely high value. But maybe, too, this technology is actually just far beyond any human understanding. Perhaps we'll know more soon, though. Though I'm skeptical the Pentagon will reveal any bombshells, if it is alien technology, the government has a strong interest in not wanting to shock the public, even if they're in possession of information the public wants, proof of alien life and alien visitations. Now, let me assert one thing here. If our government were to reveal the existence of extraterrestrials, it would probably be only because something was imminent. They would only acknowledge that which they knew was going to be revealed soon anyway, and so would do so in a way to control how it was revealed, to manage the public's reaction to such shocking news. The military and intelligence communities, after all, do not like to divulge any information they don't have to, which is their job, to keep secrets and information that are vital to our national security. If they admit certain things to us, you can absolutely believe they know a whole lot more. What they tell us will be interesting for sure, but also what they do not tell us will be even more fascinating. Ultimately, if we must choose which one of these three possible sources for the UAPs is most likely true, we must assign probabilities to these options. Now, based on our very limited information, it is a much higher probability that the technological jump made for the UAPs to travel the way they do was made by humans, not extraterrestrials. And here's why. For extraterrestrials to be the source of the UAPs, at least 4, maybe 5 unproven assumptions with little evidence to support them would have to be true. Alien life exists. That's 1. 2, intelligent alien life exists. 3, these aliens not only made the technological jump, that's 3, to have UAPs, but 4, they also made the jump to be able to travel here. And then 5, they did travel here. So that's like 5 different highly improbable assumptions that would actually need to occur for aliens to be the ones doing it. Okay? So with the military, if it's our adversaries or if it's humans, that only requires one assumption to be true. And that assumption is that we or the Russians made the jump in technology. Okay? That's a much easier jump, right? To wrap your mind around. Us making a technological jump, one assumption being true versus 4 or 5 assumptions being true. So much more probable that the UAPs are of a human origin. Yeah. So anyway, it's just a simpler, it's just a more probable explanation for the source of UAPs, humans. Now, we've made huge technological jumps many times before. So who is it? Is it Russia? Is it China? Or is it us? Well, who has the best technology? Now, many would probably say it's the U.S., though I'm not sure that's necessarily true, at least regarding military technology. Russia did beat us to space and can land their returning space modules on the actual ground, on actual land. We still have to land on the sea. Now, both Russia and China have made massive improvements to their fighter jet stealth capabilities in recent years, as well as their new hypersonic missile technology. Perhaps during their advancements, they made some revolutionary discoveries which have resulted in this new UAP technology. Though, if the U.S. is still globally the leader in technology and innovation, especially regarding aerospace technology, the highest probability that we can determine with our very limited information would be that the UAP technology is ours. Highly secret, highly compartmentalized, so that very few within the innermost sanctums of military intelligence would even have knowledge of this information. If you're looking for the most likely source of the UAPs, this is the one, the U.S. military. The one with a staggering $738 billion for the U.S. defense budget for 2020. Russia's defense budget for 2020, $70 billion. China's for 2020, $178 billion. They're just mere fractions of ours. Now, I'm not saying it's the U.S. military. I don't know. Just that this is the most likely probability of the three. Now, it's still possible the Russians or Chinese made the jump in technology, just probably not as likely as the U.S. getting there first. Hey, and you know what? It's still possible it is the aliens. Maybe they are here checking us out. But based on current information that we have, that probability is incredibly low. Yep, indeed, we are dealing in areas far, far, far beyond human understanding. And there's so much more we just don't know. Human scientific inquiry has only existed for perhaps 2,500 years since the time of Aristotle. But much later, we've seen tremendous gains in scientific knowledge during the scientific revolution of the 1500s, the Enlightenment of the 1600s, followed by the explosive developments of industrialization, then the nuclear age, dawn of the space age, and now our technological revolution in recent years. We just haven't been at it all that long, and we've come a long way in a very short time. Think how much daily life has changed for humans in the last 150 or even 20 years because of scientific gains. But there's so much more to discover on our journey of knowledge, and we're still just beginning to understand the mysteries of the universe. Think of just some of our recent scientific developments and their mind-bending implications. Like the explosion of technology in the last 20 to 30 years. Look at how far we've come. Cell phones once were just a sci-fi fantasy on Star Trek, and they're now an everyday convenience. The internet, it's an essential for daily living. And it's made things like classified ads, telephone directories, and encyclopedias a thing of the past. GPS has made it a whole lot easier to get where you're going. And how many people still use paper maps? We went from engine-powered travel a few miles an hour to over 435,000 miles per hour in just 200 years. How fast are we going to be able to go in another 200 years? The microchip has revolutionized computer efficiency and processing ability to where your cell phone now has more computer storage and computing power than the Apollo spacecraft of the moon missions. We've mapped the human genome. We have stealth technology for aircraft and boats that allows them to go virtually undetected by radar. We have stealth fighters that give off radar signatures the size of a seagull. How many people thought that would ever be possible? And so many other discoveries. Check this out. We've learned that microbes can survive in space, especially bacteria. And NASA's confirmed through numerous experiments that a wide range of different bacteria can survive in outer space. A serious concern if you're trying to not to contaminate another planet with your bacteria or contaminate your planet with another planet's bacteria. Also, there's the tardigrade, a barely visible microanimal about 0.5 millimeter long. It's so resilient and indestructible, they can live for 30 years without food. They can live inside volcanoes, and they can survive extreme cold, radioactivity, and even the vacuum of space. Scientists have actually said tardigrades will survive until the death of our sun. Black holes. Not only have astronomers and astrophysicists finally proved that black holes do exist, we actually now have an actual picture of one from 2019. You can go look it up on the internet. It's amazing. Quantum physicists have now proved through experiments that not only can subatomic particles like electrons actually exist in two places at once, which is true and it's crazy, but so too can atoms and even large molecules exist in two places at the same time. Mind-bending stuff. We're definitely going to have to do a show about that one at some point. All right, get this. Dark matter and dark energy. Astrophysicists have determined that most of our universe, about roughly 68% of it, is made up of what they call dark energy. And now we can't see it. We don't know what it is, but we feel its effects as the universe expands. And dark energy pushes out a universe that should otherwise be slowing down in its expansion. But the expansion is actually accelerating. Now, dark matter makes up about 27% of the universe. Now, this is the matter that is out there, but we just can't see it. Now, the rest, everything on Earth, everything else observed with all of our instruments, all normal matter, only adds up to about, less than 5% of the universe. So for over 95% of the universe, we have no idea what it is, what's out there, or what it's made of. How about that? And get this, astrophysicists have long since determined that nothing can travel faster than the speed of light, thanks to Einstein's theory of special relativity. But they've concluded that the universe is actually expanding at a rate faster than the speed of light. Say what? Okay, last one. NASA has estimated there may be as many as 10 billion exoplanets, billion with a B, 10 billion exoplanets within the Milky Way galaxy that could be habitable for life. About 1 in 4 suns like ours, yellow dwarfs, that could have a planet with water and habitable conditions for life. So, think about all this stuff. Keep these things in mind when you think about what it is we know about the universe and our place in it, what we know for right now, and how much more there is yet for us to discover. So that's it for this episode of The Breakdown. I I hope you enjoyed it and you found it half as fascinating as I do. Hopefully we've given you some interesting and valid ideas to consider when thinking about these unidentified craft that keep visiting us, but also about how we might think about those things, which are still so far beyond our understanding, at least for now. Because you can believe our understanding of the universe will most certainly change as time marches on and we continue our investigations into the cosmos. More and more, gradually, will become clear. The best reason of all to keep exploring, asking questions, and experimenting. So on our next episode, we're going to talk about the protests in Portland, Oregon, which have been going on for almost 80 days now. What is happening there on the ground? Is it a modern-day hellscape as it seems to be portrayed by many in the right-wing media? Or is it largely a peaceful protest with a relatively small group of agitators causing some trouble? Or something in between? Did law enforcement and federal officers sent by President Trump to quell the protests go too far in their efforts? And how do you stop the criminal activity of rioters and vandals while still allowing peaceful protesters to exercise their First Amendment rights? And what ultimately do the protesters wish to accomplish? And is it working? Lots of questions here. We're going to dig in and we're going to get the answers. And we're not going to play any favorites either. Until then, thank you so much for listening. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.